Hey guys, I know I look goofy with this little headset here. It's just because I'm gonna be working on the car and it's like 11 at night, so it's super dark. I know, super bright, but yeah, it'll provide some good light coverage while I'm out here in the garage. Bought the Boomba bypass valve. I bought the one in red. I could have sworn I bought black, but doesn't matter. I mean, no one's gonna see it at all. I mean, this is kind of what it came with in the box. Obviously more packaged. I just kind of ripped all that stuff off, but it comes with the bypass valve itself, and then just like extra hosing and this little connector, which is what I would assume connects to your OEM hose. That's all it really is. I mean, that's all you really need. I just have a random assortment of tools. To be honest with you, I don't know all the tools that I'm gonna need, but we have to take off this splash guard. Not that metal piece that I'm pointing at, but this plastic splash guard, which just consists of a bunch of clips, and most people generally know how to take it off. It's not that hard. I mean, it's just literally a bunch of like plastic pop clips, kind of like, let me see if I can get it, kind of like that. And then like two of these, only two, I believe these are 12mm bolts, but these you can just remove with screwdrivers. So nothing crazy, just kind of wedge it in and pop it out. Alright, so I have the under tray off. You can see, just a bunch of clips, super easy. Now, this little guy that I'm pointing the light at right here, that's what we're gonna pull out, and that's what we're gonna replace with the Boomba. Simple enough, just loosen that little band clamp thing, whatever it is, off the intake, like so. Just enough, just so you can maneuver that off like that. Pretty simple. This is one of the vacuum hoses that you kind of have to pull up on. It comes off pretty easily. And then this one, that's a slight variation in the 18 model. So you have a vacuum line that goes here, and then what this is it's not a vacuum line. I mean, it is a vacuum line, but it's just connected to this little clip. You just have to press this in, and this whole thing pops up and out, just like that. So it's the same thing as doing a vacuum line with just like, well, like these V-band clamps, but I guess there's just that variation in the 18 model. Alright. First I just kind of squeezed it, and then I moved it around just so it'd be easier to grip it from this side. And then, so you see how I pulled it down? So that's perfect, that's kind of what you want. Now after that, I just have to undo this 10mm, and there we go. The one way back there, looks like I have to get an extension to get that one out, but those two have to be loosened, and then we can drop this little inlet and basically pull it off the bypass. And I kind of wish I had a tripod of some sort. I know you guys are pretty much over the fact that everything is shaky as hell. Yeah. I'm gonna try to do this one on camera. Alright. How I managed to do this was, hang on, let me get the light. So what I did was, let me try to do this without knocking it out of place. So I took the extension off the actual ratchet itself, and I just kind of, used 2 fingers and threw it on the bolt. And then this little hose is, it's movable, it's flimsy. It looks like one of the coolant hoses. I was able to pull it kind of to the side and wedge this thing in here, and same thing on this hose. But anyways, same thing on this little hose right here. It's very flexible, so you can basically wedge your ratchet onto the extension from here, and it's enough room for you to, you see how I'm able to, you get the idea. You can kind of wedge the ratchet right there, and then you can just, it's enough play for you to turn it and then at least break the bolt free. Like I said, it's not torque super tight, so you don't need a whole lot of room to get it. Once you get it loose, you can probably take the ratchet off and just use the extension and then untwist it by hand. So let me do that, and we'll move on to the next part, and I'll show you guys that. So the bolts are off. This thing moves very freely. Well, not as freely as that, obviously, because it was connected to the bypass valve. All you have to do is literally just pull this whole assembly. God, I really wish I was Stitch and have 4 arms, but pretty much you just pull this whole assembly down and it comes down pretty easily. I mean, you just gotta wiggle a little bit to break this little hose free, but that's all you do, and then it comes off. Super easy, super simple. All right, so screwdriver, just carefully push. Boom, just like that. And it pops right off. Check that out. I didn't think that was actually gonna work, but it did. How cool is that? So yeah, that's one hose off. Now all that's left, so I can show you guys. God, I'm a terrible cameraman. Literally all that's left now to do is there's another V-band clamp right there. Right here where my middle finger is. You just have to loosen that, which I actually have no idea how I'll get up there, but it looks like I probably could use like a little ratchet to get that. I'll bring you guys back from when I pull this thing out. So let me just take my hand and just. All right, let me figure out why it's not coming out before I break something that I shouldn't break. Hang on. Okay, so it's the stock bypass valve is out. That took a lot of work. And I think the reason why is, so there's a step lip on it. You see right here. There's a little step lip. And what was happening was when I was pulling it out from here, I was pulling it out, it was you know, obviously it was getting tighter, and ooh, that's kind of gross. It was getting tighter, and then this V-band clamp was basically still cinching on it, so I had to basically loosen this thing up even more to get it. So anyway, let me grab the new one. We're gonna stick the new one onto here first, and then we're gonna connect the stock vacuum hose from here onto that, and then the bottom piece into here, and we'll try to rebutton everything. So this one's made of billet aluminum, the Boomba one, and then the stock one is just feel like plastic, and I felt some vibration, so I assume there's a spring somewhere in here, obviously. But anyway, this is the stock one, and you can see how this little inlet is there at different locations, so you definitely need this little extension hose right here, basically to hook it in here and then make it point up so that you can hook it to the stock location. So full recirc is the way to go, and Boomba, and I believe Nameless makes one as well. This is basically the Boomba, and you see I just kind of connect to the nipple there. Some come with a little zip tie, but this thing is pretty on there, pretty tight. Look, check that out. I'm pulling it real good. It's not coming out, so I think that should be good to use. I'm just gonna connect this to the stock location, but putting this on first and then cinching the band clamp over this, and then we'll connect this up, and then like I said, we'll connect the bottom piece before we bolt it back into the turbo. So just shove the sucker on there and we'll be good. Wait, hang on, wrong one. Here it is, that's the right one. All right, so and I believe Subi Speed said to go out. What the hell just stabbed me in the head? Oh, anyways, Subi Speed said to go at an angle, and then you just wiggle, 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 and it's on. Just like that. All right. Just kind of position it like that before you start cinching stuff down. And then this one connects to the stock hosing up top, so. Just like that. So far we have two connected and real good. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna tighten down this band clamp right here. Where, if I can find it, hang on. Here it is. So I'm just go ahead and tighten. Oh man, I should have reversed it. That would have been easier, huh? Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna pull this back off. I'm gonna reverse this band clamp so it'll be easier to get to. You see how just because the nipple's on top, if it's underneath, I can get to it with a screwdriver a little easier for like future access. So you see how I flipped it? See how the screwdriver nipple is on the bottom side? So now it'd be a little easier to stick a screwdriver in there and just undo it if I need to in the future, which I mean I probably will. So anyways, now that's done. Kind of have to, Jesus, kind of reseat the housing, and then this little guy up here. Dang, these hoses are annoying. Just push that back up. So ta-da, it pushes up into the bottom piece of that Boomba. And before you throw that sucker on, make sure your intake little thing seats into the compressor housing really well before you do anything else. So I got this one in. I hope you can see that one. It's in there. like I said, these are one of those bolts where you don't want to get overzealous with, jeez, I'm trying to get my mic right. Like I said, it's one of those bolts where you don't want to get overzealous with tightening or even like cross threading. So definitely take your time to just slowly don't be too crazy with them. They don't need a lot of torque. There is a rubber gasket on this little inlet housing that touches the compressor housing, so that it forms a seal, so you don't need a whole bunch of torque. Oh jeez, I keep losing my stupid light. But just definitely tight enough. Hand tight's plenty. I don't know what the actual numbers are if you were to get like a torque wrench or anything, but like these are like little 10 mil bolts. They don't need a whole lot of torque. I mean, something like hand tight, like you would tighten maybe a little less than like an oil filter probably. Honestly, you really don't need these all that tight. So I'm just gonna kind of alternate between the two and just to get them like fairly tight. There we go. So, and I think that should be tight enough. I'm gonna go around and do the other side again, and I'll follow you guys up and we'll reconnect I'll show you guys how to reconnect all the vacuum hoses. I'm sure you guys can just rewatch this and then figure it out, but I'll show you guys that. Let me finish tightening these down though. We'll continue. So yeah, earlier I showed you guys that I tightened this little V-band clamp up here. So apparently you have to keep that fairly loose just so you can adjust the bottom piece so that everything kind of fits together. I'm about to tighten that up. Nothing crazy, but like I said, look how much easier it is when you can just kind of sneak a screwdriver in and just boop, just turn it. So that band's pretty snug. This is one of the, oh yeah, so I'll start with this one. Like you'll hear it click. So it goes in, boom, that's a click. And then here's the other one, boom, that's it. Literally that's it. So you got vacuum hose here, vacuum hose here, vacuum hose here, all connected. I didn't undo any of these. I hope they didn't undo. Yeah, I didn't have to do any of these or whatever hosing it is down here. But yeah, it looks like everything. Oh yeah, so now I have to replace. See, look, this is why you double check your work. So this little C-clamp, V-band clamp, whatever you want to call it, has to be, we have to put this back where we found it. See, squeeze, squeeze, boom. So that's nice and secure up here. That's nice and secure. V-band clamp here is good. So we have nice and airtight. Like I said, vacuum hoses, double check them, and I think that's it. I think the only thing we have to do now is put this intake back on here like that, simple, and then just making sure it's on there. It's on there now. Just to tighten this sucker right here, and I think that's pretty much it. Like, look, check it out. Look how cool it looks. Like I said, no one's ever gonna see that except me. But it's nice and cool in red. All we have to do now is start up the car and basically check if we have any kind of vacuum leaks or anything like that. Fingers crossed. I really hope it sounds good. Apparently people get intakes and the intakes make it sound much louder. I've heard nothing but horror stories with intakes on these cars. That and the stock. So I'm recording on my phone now because my GoPro actually died. But like I was saying, stock intakes are perfectly fine up until, you know, the 400 or 500 horsepower range. I don't remember the actual numbers, but definitely nothing to be super concerned about. I know it's a little crooked just because I have my mic plugged in. Bear with me, guys. Anyway, so the install is pretty easy. It just takes a while. It took me a while just because I was kind of doing a little bit of camera work along with it, trying to get some decent shots. Granted, if I were to just do it, definitely would have been 30 minutes. Simple bolt-on installation, super easy. Plenty of install videos out there, like I mentioned earlier. It's really not that hard. I would equate it, you know, a little more difficult than a light bulb change. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what I'm doing wrong, anything I can improve on, anything you guys want to see in particular. I do have a good bit of mods on the car that I haven't even mentioned yet, but those will be for future videos to come.